Yeah, David, can you check if you need to share your screen, if you can get it?
I can see, I can share my screen.
Yeah, that's fine. So you have the floor, you can start.
Okay, so hi Tony. Hi Tony. So yeah, I made some verbal reasoning questions on the question. So I made a branch of questions from the verbal reasoning papers that we usually give to the students. For example, if I show you an example of if I show you an example of what I did, just to give you an idea. Um, so So I had a look at these questions and I was noticing quite a few kids, they were kind of struggling with it or they weren't fully used to the style of these questions. So then what I decided to do was I decided to see if I could kind of make separate questions on those that can kind of help them. So I start out them. So I start quite simple with it. So if my computer allows me to, so I created this. So I usually put all the questions in this tab. This is something that I was trying to work on, but we'll get to that at a later point. So basically, what this is that these two do the letter sequencing questions, but I decided to kind of start them off a bit easy with one letter instead of two. That was what I did initially, and then and then after that, I decided that once they've mastered how to do these sequences with one letter, I would now move on to two letters. And then once they've mastered that, they can obviously be able to do these questions. So
Yeah, that.
the way that
No, I said that's fine.
oh, okay, that sounds good. So the way that I did that was that I created a quiz. So like let's say I created a quiz and then I labeled it. Then I can title it whatever. I can title it. Let's just put verbal reasoning and put letter sequences there like that. This will just be another model. So I'll just show you how I did it. Yeah, so I'm gonna put question behavior because I want them to receive feedback immediately after they do the question because this is a practice topic. So I put immediate feedback and then I click on save and display. So once I do that, it should show me this. So it's created the quiz, but we still need to add the questions still need to add the questions onto the system. So what we do is that we scroll down and then you should see a point where it says quiz administration, and quiz administration shows you edit settings, group overrides, and etc. But the one I want to click on is question bank. So if I click onto that now it's now taking me to the question bank for the VR, the verbal reasoning section, but I want to strictly use
Tony,
I didn't strictly
David,
use,
I think David is cut off. I mean, Tony is cut off.
uh,
Let's wait for him for a minute to come back.
okay.
Yeah. Then I think what you can do as well, once you just go straight to the coding aspect, but I think he's also familiar, he's also okay with the initial. So once you go in, just go straight to the coding.
Okay.
I should have mentioned that to you already. Okay, he's connecting back now. Yeah, I think he's back now. Tony, you have to
Sorry,
pause.
my
Yeah, it's fine.
network.
Don't worry. Yeah, ask David to pause. So David, you can continue now.
Right. So what I'll do is I'll just open to the formulas section so I can get to kind of the coding sort of aspects.
Thank you very much.
So I can just I just titled this VR letter sequences. I'll just put ls for now. So now here's the interesting bit. So what I do is that I usually use an array I usually use an array to help me with this sort of thing. So like if you think of an array, you have if you think of an array has an index you have index for every letter. So I kind of use that to determine what letter goes where and which letter goes and what letter goes there. And And so what I can do is that, so what I usually do is I usually create the array in part 1, and I'll explain why I do that as I get along. So if I put here, put letter array, and that equals, to put that bit, then I put these square brackets there to show that that's an array, and then I just put the letters of the alphabet. So I have to put a comma after each go, and also have to put them in double quotes as we go along. So if I just, so I'm just gonna, so what I do is I usually just go through A, B, C, D, E, F, and then I'm gonna go all the way to Z. So H, I, J, so bear with me. And then we're just gonna keep going through the alphabet. There's any letter could possibly come up. R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So we've got up to this point. So that could be our first letter array. And then usually what I like to do, because you think about it, when we have these sort of letter sequences, we can have a point where after we can have a point where we could have a pattern where we could have X, Z, B, D, and so on. So once it's finished, so after Z, what it does is that with these questions, what happens with these questions is they usually start again back from A. So what I do usually is I create a second array. So this array will be used for when the user needs to select a letter, and this array will be used to this array will be used for the this array will be used for the sequence goes past Z. So what I like to do is I like to put A, B, C, D, E, F, G again, and then just in case I put a third one again just to take care of any repetitions. So then now that that's sorted, in fact, let me call that letter array 2. Now that that's sorted, I'm going to get to the point on where we now randomly choose what letter is going to happen, what letter is going to go where in the sequence. So the way that I do that is that I randomly pick a number that will happen to be, a valid index number of a letter in the array. And usually what I do, because you can have a sequence where you can go forward, you can have a sequence where you go backwards across the alphabet. So what I do is that I usually put the sequence kind of in the middle, so I could use V set of indexes in the array. And so I'll store that as a random number. So just storing the index number. So we could call this A, and then you can call this A, and then I would put a random number. So because arrays, the index starts at 0, so zeros, and there are 26 letters in the alphabet, which means the second set of alphabets in this array would start from the index of 26. So I'll put my index 26 there. So I put my starting index of 26 there, and then the last value the Z value of the second set of the alphabet in that array would be the 26 to 26, so the 52nd value in that array, which would have an index of 51. So what I could do, I'll just put 52 there. So that should cover the whole of the second alphabet. And then, so now that I've done that, this could...
David, sorry, let me find out. Sorry, Tony, if you don't get anything, you can ask question as well. Now, if I do get it, the letter 1 or the letter A, you also have the second array. If you scroll down to the variables, okay? So you have the letter array, then you also have the letter array 2. So go back to the random variable. Thank you. Okay, so this A, is it referring only to letter array or letter array 2 or both of them?
Just this one just needs a letter array 2.
Letter array 2.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, that's fine. So you are picking from letter array 2. Okay, that's fine. Tonya, do you have any question?
No, I'm still getting it for now. I just have an observation.
Okay.
Among the letters, the letter I is not having the double quotes on the other side.
Okay.
I think that was. Oh yeah, that's just a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Thanks for reminding me, Tony.
Yeah, thank you.
So yes, so
okay, that's fine.
Yes, so that's what the A does. And then the next thing that I'm going to need in this question is I'm going to need a pattern. So what we'll do, so our first pattern would be that it just changes by a fixed number. And then after that, I'll go over how we're going to do, how we can just quickly change it if it's going to be a pattern of that we move forward by 1 letter, then we move forward by 2 letters, then 3 letters, and so on. But for now, we'll do a
sorry, let me quickly confirm something again. Now you choose 26 to start the variable because it can go forward and backward instead of 0, if I'm right.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, carry on.
So what I'm going to do, so I need to pick a random number for the pattern, and because it can go forward and backwards, I'm going to choose between a negative number and a positive number. But at the same time, I also don't want it to be 0, because if the letter is moving forward by 0 letters, that means it's just staying the same.
Okay.
So what I do is that instead of doing so let's say I could go from -4 to 4. So instead of writing it like this, what I do, I'll just write it as a list, so that list like that. So then it only selects a random number out of all these numbers, which is basically from -4 to 4, with the exception of 0. So those are my random variables. So this represents the first letter we want to pick, and then this represents the pattern. So now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to use that to generate all the other values, well the indexes of all the other letters in the pattern. So the first, so I'll put it, so I'll call this variable v1, and I'll set that equal to a because that's our first value. We don't, I could just call that v1, so I'm just going to do it that way.
Okay.
So then that would be the index of the first letter. So I'm still referring to indexes, and that because if I add it by the fixed number, for example, let's say I start from A. Yeah. If I add 4 to the index, that would take me to E. And if I add 4 again, that would take me forward by 4 letters to I, and so on.
Okay.
So what I would do is I'll call this variable v2, and I'll set that equal to A add B, and then I'll do this, and then I will set another value for v3, and I'll set that variable to A plus B, or I could just say A plus 2 times B. Yep. So this would just be an arithmetic sequence. So and then I'm just going to continue that until I get let's say 6 values. Okay. So 8 plus 4 times B. So I'm just adding B each time. I think that should be good. Then V6 equals to A plus 5 times B. And now I've pretty much got all my variables together. So what I'll do, I'll just put the reasoning letter sequence indices, and then what I would do now is that now I've gotten all those together, I can now display my answer. Or I can now display the question. So we can put complete the sequence or something there, and then complete the sequence there or something. And then I can put I'll put equals to, and this is how I'm going to refer to the letter array. So I need to show the letter, not the number. So what I would do is that I will show, so I'll show the letter by putting equals to letter array 2, then I'll put my brackets, then I'll put V1, then I'll put the space here. So I'll put a couple of spaces here. So I'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll just copy that just so that they're evenly spaced throughout the whole question. And then I'll put letter array 2, and then I put V2 there. And that should be spelled correct, yeah. And then I'm just gonna, and then to be honest, what I did with the other question is that I put the gap around here. But for this one, but for the sake of this, I'll just put, so for the sake of this, I'll put the gap where, or the space where the user needs to answer at the end. So I'll put letter array 2, and I'll put the 3 and 3, and then I'll just continue that until I get to letter point 6. So that'll be letter array 2. Then letter array. It will show a bit odd here, but when it displays as a question, it usually looks a lot better than this. And then to refer to it, so what's going to happen is I'm going to make a drop. There's going to be a drop down where the user can pick a letter. Letter. So I'll just put and this is where I use the variable letter array. So I'll just put letter array, then I put MCE there to refer to the
end. If you scroll down so you can see what you type in there. Yeah, that's
just to refer to the index of it.
Okay.
And then so the value on letter array 2 would be V6. So the indexes. But what we need to do, we need to now translate that so that it's the same letter that's being read off letter array 1.
Okay.
So the way that I do that is that I just find, because we're just repeating the alphabet each time, and there are 26 letters in the alphabet, what I do is I just put the answer as the modulus of, so I do V6 mod 26, which will give me the remainder, and that should also give me the index of the letter for letter array. So that when the student is now using the drop-down menu, it can only see the alphabet being repeated once instead of twice.
Right. So okay.
So that's why I put my answer like that. And then so up to this point, so we pretty much got the whole question sorted now. So I could actually check this. I will get to the feedback bit. So I will get to the feedback bit. So like we can display that to see if everything went well. Oh, okay, I think I forgot to put an equal sign there. So 1 second. Sorry about this. So I put equal sign here, equals to letter array 2 V5. Yeah, that should work now. Yeah, that's better. So
okay, what you want to do, David, because we can't see the preview, if you share, share all your screen, you know how to do it.
Okay, yes sir. Yes, so what I would do, so over here we can see the preview now.
Okay.
So we can see preview now. So we have a sequence here. So we have from F to C to Z to W to T. So F is the 6th letter, C is the 3rd letter. So we're going back by 3 in the alphabet. So if I go back by 3 from T, so that should be Q. Yeah, so that should be on the letter Q, because we're going back by 3 letters. And if I check that, it should say that my answer is correct, because we're going back by that letter. Okay. So now we've done the letter sequence. We've done the letter sequence, and we've done that for the letter, but but the question is not yet complete because we need to give the students a feedback if they get the question wrong. So the way that we do that is that so if I close this, then the way that we do that, we just write down. So I can do, I just write down what I kind of do is I'll just write the question again in the incorrect response box. So I'll just put the question here, and I'll just put a blank there. Then I'll say that, then I could say that the pattern in this sequence is that the letters shift by, well, this is probably where I have a bit of a limitation, because I'm saying the letters shift by -2 or shift by 2. It might be easier for me to create 2 different formula quizzes, so that one of them shows that it goes forward by a certain amount, and the other one goes backward by a certain amount. So backward by a certain amount. So I could put those, so I could have 2 separate responses in the formulas questions. But for this, so that's something that that's something that I could probably look into. But for now, we could just say that the pattern in the letters is that the letters shift by the variable b, which is just shifting by a certain amount of letters. And then I could say that, just say that this means 3 letters, and then I probably just use the alphabet. Yeah, probably just use the alphabet to kind of make such a way. Then I could say that B letters, so a shift of 3 of B letters from, and then I can put the letter that we have. The letter that we have before, so that's V5.
Tony, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to make a suggestion.
Okay.
Instead of going, to create another one, you can just make something like, let me see, hint, minus, and plus in the incorrect box. So in front of the minus, we can say B, your curly bracket B. If it's indicating minus, or let me just say, if minus, it means going backward. Then plus, if going forward, it means it's going forward by so and so. So everything can just be inside the incorrect box, just to contain everything instead of trying to create another one. We don't know if that would be good.
So you're saying that if forward, so if plus, go forward, if minus, go backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Actually, yeah, we could actually put that down. So if plus, go forward, if minus, go backwards. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then then they know that, then they know what the shift is in the question. So if it's a minus, yes, we could actually include that. So if shift, go forward, if plus, go backwards, and then we could include that the path that is a shift by so, and then we could say that the shift of letters will land us will be at the letter of whatever the answer is. Yeah, because that actually would work very well on this. But then now if I try the question, and I'm gonna purposely get it wrong. Sorry, my internet is acting a bit slow. There we are. So we got H, J, and P. So I'm just gonna put P because they aren't the same answer, so that's gonna be wrong. So if I check that now, it should give us some feedback. So so to be honest, I don't think I really need this there, but as you said that if plus go forward, if minus go backwards. So the pattern here is a shift by 2. So then a shift by 2 letters, talking QR. So that would be at the letter R.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Twain?
Yes, it does.
All right, cool. So that's how we would do it for one letter. That's how we could do it for one letter. But then it's not fully yet complete in the sense of, if we look at the verbal reasoning questions, we do have more than one letter. We have more than one letter, So we have more than one letter here. We have two letters in this sequence. So we'd have one sequence for one letter,
Yeah.
and then another sequence for another letter.
Right. Okay.
So the way that I do this is that I then create another variable. So usually when I create quizzes, I like to do
Sorry. Sorry, just hold on a second. Hello?
Okay. No. Yeah, I think we'll just wait for him to come back. Or
Yeah, so sorry about that. Now, what I want to say, David, is it possible for, instead of, because I will want other staff to go through this as well, if you duplicate this question so that we have this question as a single letter question, then duplicate it to now create a double so that will make it easier when people want to review. Are you with me?
yes, it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
possible. In fact, I did.
so what I
It's
want you
possible
to
I
say,
did them.
don't edit this one, create another one so that we now call it a double something. So that this
Okay, yeah.
stands as an individual, as a single letter verbal reasoning. Then we have another
Okay, yeah.
question that is a double question verbal reasoning.
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So so I'll just duplicate this one.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Then I'll just put double letter pattern one, because the different types of patterns the students may come across. So this is the first pattern they may come across.
Okay.
And then so what I like to do, as I said before, I like to create my variables as A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
So what I'll do, I'll just put a variable C, and then I'll still use the same arrays and the same sort of patterns, but I'm just going to use different variables. So what it should do, it should just randomly generate a pattern and a sequence for a different letter. And then I'm going to put those two together to create into one question. So I'll create my variables. I'll put -4, -3, -2, -1. And I'm just going to continue with this. So now that I've created those, variables, so I put V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and V6 before. So what I would do then is that, because it's a different letter, I'm just going to use a different, and so I'll just use I1. So I'll just use I for letter convention. So I just for convention. So I just put I equals to C. And now this time, instead of adding it by B, I'm just adding it by C. So just do C add D and so on. So like that. And then I5 equals to C plus 4 times D. I6 equals to C plus 5 times D. 5 times D. And then so I've created that. So I created that there. And then what I would do is that I would just
David, I think Tony is cut off again, so let's wait for him to come back.
okay.
Yeah, he's back now.
So sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
That's all right.
We said that you cut off, so.
Thank you.
Yes, so what I would do is that now I'll just include, so what I've done, Twain, is that I've added the variables, I've added the new variables. So what this would do is just generate a new index for a new sequence. And I've put them as I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, and I6. Then what I would do is, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put those letters right next to the previous ones that I created before. So I'll put letter array 2, then I'll put, let me just extend this. So I'll put I1, and then letter array 2, and I'll just put I2, then letter array 3. So letter array 2, and then I'll put that as an index of I3. Well, I3, and then I'll do the same for this one as well. Letter array 2, I4. I know it seems a bit long. Then I'll put letter array 2, then I'll put I5. And then over here, I just need to now put the next, over here, I just need to now put the, I need to now put another drop-down menu for the second letter. So that second letter. So what I would do is that I'll just put _1 letter array, and then I'll put colon MCE, and then just like I did the modulus for V6, I'm just going to do I6 mod 26. You get what I'm doing, Twain?
Oh, it's just cut off now. So let's wait for him. Yeah, it's back now.
Yeah.
Twain, can you hear us? Hello, Twain, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. No worries, it's fine. I mean, it's okay. It's internet network problems. Yeah, David, go on.
Yeah, so what I've done is I'll just put the letters aside, and then I'll put another drop-down menu there, and I've set the answer to that to the mod of to do I6 mod 26, so that it can take the correct letter from the letter array. But then if I now save that, it should hopefully, yeah, unless I've made them, yeah, it should display this properly. So as you can see now, we have two letters in our space. We have TS, VP, XM, Z, and BG. So TV, so this is going back by 2 letters. As you know, this is going forward by 2 letters. So then that would be D. And then this one's we've got S, P, M, J, MJ, and G. So this one's going back by 3 letters. So this would be at DD. If I got that correct, yeah. And then it shows, and then it would just mark it as correct. So that's basically how the user would answer that. But then we still need to add to the feedback, because let's say the user gets it wrong. So if I show you, the user gets it okay, it's asking me for an answer. So let's say the user gets it wrong. It's only going to show feedback for the first letter.
Yeah.
It's not going to show feedback for the second letter. So I'll just add that bit to the response, and then I'll just add a bit to response, and then I'll just put for the first letter. So for the first letter to show that that's the pattern for the first letter.
Yep.
And then I'll do the same for the second letter as well. So for the second letter, what I would do actually, because it's pretty much the same feedback, but just for a different sequence, I'll just copy and paste that and change the variables to variables. So our change is by D, and instead of V5 and V6, we'll have I5 and I6, which is I5, I6, and then change this one to D as well. So then now, if the Now, if I get something wrong, so if I put B there, yeah, that should be incorrect. And then K, B, the K there. It will now show me the sequence pattern for the first letter and for the second letter. I could also put at the end of it, I could say that so the path, so the next two letters in the sequence will be GM, but it depends on how you want to go about it.
Okay. That's fine. I think that's okay so far. Tony, I don't know if you have any question or observation or anything you want to add.
I'm okay with it. I just want to clarify in our part text, please can you go back to that?
Let's say that again. Pardon, I didn't really hear you.
You
Our
want to
part
check on the
text.
part
I want to
text.
check something.
Oh, you want to check something? Okay.
Yeah, we give a space of 5, 5, 5, 5. The first question there is it compulsory? It's like that, or there's a reason for that.
I just did that. You mean the 5 5 spaces?
Yeah.
Oh, it's basically. I just wanted to be able a gap between the questions. Like to be honest, I could just use a comma and go through there. It's just how I generally do sequence questions.
Okay.
Like
You just want it to be the same, so just look fine, right?
yeah, that's why I did it. Like it's a bit like it looks a bit too tight there. That's why I usually do the spacing.
Okay, I understand now. I thought it's having an effect on what we're doing.
Oh no, it's literally just for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think
Okay.
I'm okay so far.
Okay, that's fine. Now, I'm just wondering, David, is it possible instead of asking the student to select a drop-down button, is it possible for them to type it in?
I haven't been able to think of a way to do that yet.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, this is okay. I'm just wondering if that could make it better. That's fine.
Yeah, because I was thinking of maybe doing the gap fill, but then if I do the gap fill, it won't be dynamic. So I had
yeah.
to.
I mean, check if there is a way that they can type it in. If not, we just leave it. This is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. Well done. Now,
Thanks.
if you go to the question itself, that's the one I sent to you, the PDF question. Yes.
This one?
Now, I think the next one I want you to work on, David. I mean, Tony, if you can work on this as well. If you look at question number 6, that said, if the code for hearing is FGY, then T something, question number 6, then what is the code for accused? Let's see if we could come up with something like that as well.
All right.
It may be a bit challenging, but let's see if it's possible to get it on, because as I mentioned, I'm trying to get rid of all these PDF display so that students can always it saves space and makes it very, it's dynamic. The question changes at all times.
Yeah.
Okay. Then also, if you look at question number 11 as well, all this is not something that is maybe I want it done today or tomorrow, but one thing I want us to take maybe a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Number 11, let's see who could do something like that as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. Thanks so much. David, I don't know any final thing or Tony, any other thing you want to say?
No, for now. No.
Okay.
Okay, I want to make suggest the using embedded clause, it
Yes.
permits imputing the letters. Can something like this run using the embedded clause? Because I think that's the one that permits you to type in alphabet as an answer.
Yeah, the problem with embedded clause is not dynamic. You can't change.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't change the variables.
Okay, that's true.
It's only formulas that you can change. If you want to use embedded clause, that means you have to write maybe 100 and now asking the question to be shuffling, but it's a lot of work. But I will let's check. There may be a way. If not, we just leave it this way.
It's okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. Then I've enrolled you. If you go to your homepage on Talent and Careers, so you should see the verbal reasoning. So you see the one that the background that David first shows.
Okay.
Okay. David, any other thing?
Oh yeah, I was also gonna add something as well that also sometimes in some of the sequences as well, there is one last bit I just want to add that in some of the sequences as well that you might have something where the pattern changes. So the first goal, your pattern it will go forward by 1, the next goal will go forward by 2, and the next goal will go forward by 3.
That's 3 letters.
No, as in like it's changing each time. As in the difference in the sequence is changing.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, as in like so let's say that I had a letter. So let's say that I had a letter that started at B, and then I
Yes.
went to C, then I went to E, and then from E I went to H, and so on.
Okay.
So we went forward by 1 letter here, then we went forward by 2 letters here, and then we went forward by 3 letters here.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to cover that bit as well because I was able to get somewhere with that.
That's fine. That's fine.
So what I did is I just created another variable. So the other variable would be how far I wanted the shift to go.
Okay.
So like let's call that B1. So usually I don't use because you don't want the numbers to get the differences to get too big.
Sorry, David, to make it easier, do you want to save this duplicate to create the third one?
Oh yes, oh
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Uncle. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so save and then duplicate this, then put pattern. I just named that pattern 2. So this one did take me a bit of a while. So what I'll do, so I'll put A, B, then I'll create another variable, call that B1. And then just so that the differences don't get too big or too small, just keep it to a change of -2, -1, 1, and 2. And I'll do the same thing for the other sequence. So put -2, -1, 1, and 2. So then the first difference is going to be an increase in B. And then what I would do instead of doing A plus B, what I would actually do is I'll just do V2 plus B plus C, because the difference is always going to increase by C.
Okay.
Or decrease by -C. Like for example, if you're increasing by -2, you're decreasing by 2. So in that sort of sense.
Okay.
So I'd put V2. So I'll put V2 plus BC, and then I'll put V3 plus B plus C plus C. And then I'll put V4 plus B plus C plus C plus C. I tried to use geometric, like in an arithmetic sequence, how you can have like a sum of the arithmetic sequence.
Yes. Yes.
I tried to use that initially, although it didn't properly work.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I usually just do this one. But if you can use them, if you can use a bit of maths to make it a bit easier, and also that's supposed to be B1. Yeah, because that could also help as well. Then probably save a lot of lines than just writing this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be B1 because this is the change in differences.
Right.
So that's how the first one would look like. And then so I'd have C plus D plus D1, then C plus D plus D1 plus D1. And then I'm just gonna wait, C plus D plus D1, then and then I2, I3. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the difference in the shift
Right.
each time.
Good.
So that would be I5 plus D plus D1 plus D1 plus D1 plus D1. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. So now that we've gotten that, it should work. It should work if I display it. Although what I would do for this one, because sometimes the shifts can be too large, or something. That's why I usually put it in V3. Although we'll still leave it there for now.
Okay.
So we'll just see how difficult it is.
Okay.
Generally they do need to know their sequences inside out.
Right.
So then what I would say here is that what I'd say here is that we'll keep everything, but I will add that instead of saying the letters shift, I'll say the pattern in the sequences starts with a shift by B, and then the shift changes. So it changes by B1.
Okay.
So then that would show that then we could say that maybe a shift of B plus, and then shift of B plus, so a shift of V4, so it's V5 plus I'll just put I'll just put V6 take away V5, so that would just show the difference between the letters.
Sorry, hold on. I think David is cut off. Let's wait for him.
Okay.
I'm back. I'm with you. Sorry.
That's all right. Yes. So what I did is I just said the pattern in the sequence, it starts with a shift of B, and then the shift changes by B1 each time.
Okay.
So now in the incorrect response, we're just going to say that a shift of, so then you could say this loads of ways. So we could say that because it's shifting each time. So the first time the change, so we could say the first change is by B, second change is B plus B, so B plus B1. Third change is B plus B1 plus B1, or we could just, yeah. Section, and then fourth change, so we should have about 4 or 5 changes. Go to B1 plus B1 plus B1. And fifth change, so we have 5 changes here because we have 6 values. So we're changing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or we could say the first shift actually. Yeah, first shift would probably make more sense. And so I'm just trying to write up the explanation as in how this question works. So put third shift, fourth shift, and then fifth shift. That would be, yeah, that's about correctly. So B plus B1 plus B1 plus B1 plus B1. And so that would just show that just shows the fifth shift, so the last shift. So I just made that a bit simpler there. So V6 take away V5 letters from letter array to V5 would be at the letter array to V6. Also, another hint that I'd probably put there as well is that if the pattern passes Z, for example, if your sequence goes past Z, just start again from A. Because if you think about it, if someone who's not really that used to this sort of sequencing thing, they maybe get a bit confused on what happens if you have a sequence like X, Y, Z. They may not know that, oh, I need to start back from A again. That's something that we could probably mention to them. And then that's something we could probably mention to them. And then we dealt with that for the first letter. So I'm just going to, once again, I'm just going to copy and paste that for the second letter and then just change the variables. It's a bit longer because it's a harder question, but it's generally just shifting the pattern and then just changing it in the explanation. So put D there, D1, so just change all those B's to D's. and then put these, so D1, D1. You could create another variable for the differences as well. That's also an option, option. So, and then instead of V6 and V5, we have I5 and yeah, we got I5 and I6, yeah. And then, so when I change that, that should show the sequences for both letters. So I'm going to save changes. I'm going to check that to make sure that everything that should work. So this should be a very interesting question. So we go from M to P, so that's NOP, so that's 3 letters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one, yeah, right. So yeah, 3, 2, yeah, 3, 2, and then yeah, 1, 3, 2, 1, and then it goes from 1 to right, so you got NOP, that's followed by 2. Oh yeah, NOP, that's followed by 3. Then it goes from 1, then it goes from and then it goes -1, then -3. Yeah, so it's going backwards. So the change is, so the first change is plus by 3, and then the second change, and then it changes by -2 each time. So we've got -3 there, -3 there, -1. Sorry, we've got +3 there. So going forward by 3, and then it's 3, and then it goes to forward by 1, and then by -1, and then by -3, and then by -5. So that should be at that should be around H. Then the second one, LN, also RMN, that's 2, 1, 0, -1. Then it's going to be -2, so it should be HR. So if I check that, let me get rid of that. If I check that, that should be correct. If I got that right. Yeah, and then it shows as HR. So that shows how the sequence works. And if it's incorrect, so let's say I put some random numbers that probably aren't going to be right, it should show the whole explanation. So it's a bit long-winded, but it kind of shows the whole pattern here. So it shows that it starts with the shift of this and then changes by, so it starts with the shift of -1, then it changes by 2. So it shows the shift between the letters, but we could say from B to A, and then from A to B, and then from B to E, and so on. Then it shows the shift of letters. Then it shows the shift of letters. So you go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it shows the shift of the letters that's going on in the question. And it says the shift of 7 letters from J will be at letter Q, shift of 10 letters from F will be at the letter P. So it kind of goes over the it goes over the pattern in the sequence and what the student should do the next time he or she sees the question. So any questions?
No, I just think we should copy the sequence for the second letter too, so that it should be easy for them to see. Yeah, B,
Oh
A,
yeah, I
B,
forgot about
B.
that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should definitely agree as well. I agree as well. I'll put that there as well.
What I'm also thinking, David, go back to the solution, the feedback.
Sorry, some going off. Let me just preview it again. There we go.
Okay, so I'm thinking instead of making it to come down vertically, we will make it horizontal, as in to show maybe -3, -2, -1, 0. Do you think that might be better? Just a suggestion. I'm not saying maybe that's what.
No, I could mean as in I put -3 there, -2,
Yeah,
and then
yes. Or maybe even here. Okay, yeah, let's go back there. Maybe even like this one to show straight like this. Or maybe if it can appear on top or the bottom of this, either. I don't know how will students look at it? Is it more better for them or to show?
Yeah, it would be a lot better to be honest. And it would be better and you'd save a lot of lines as well. So I could do some. Yeah, I could do something like that.
So it's
So
just make it to come under the letters.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or we can make use of a table and okay, I'm trying to draw a table to see if it's going to work out.
yeah, a table. Yeah, a table. But the reason why I didn't really because I've kind of used them in the past. And what happens is, especially when you have inputs and stuff like that, it
Yes.
usually it usually makes it a bit vertical.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it probably could work. 1, 2, 3.
Let's at least the most important is that we do get the logic around it. So the design and how it will show, we can work on that later and just work on it individually to see which one. Okay, you don't need to see which one comes first. But I think the
Yeah.
most important is that at least we know how to handle this now. And what I want to do now is look at those two, the one I mentioned. That if the code for something is this and the code for something is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, yeah, I'll just let's see if we saw it now. Mean something like that.
Yes, 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 yeah,
We'll probably shift that a bit forward, but I think but that would actually that would still actually work.
yeah. So it's just to show that it's increasing by one, it's increasing. So I mean, it makes it, or in fact, it will like we can leave the two so that whichever is best for the students, they can just pick it.
Yeah, true.
That's fine. Okay, that's okay. I don't know if there's any other thing, Tony or David.
Nothing from me.
Oh,
Nothing from me.
David.
Um, not I'm not really. Well, the thing probably would say the last thing is that whatever pattern you want to use, it's just generally with the it's just generally with the it's just generally with the generally with the variables because the thing with this way is that once we have the arrays together, as
Yeah,
long as we have the correct indexes, we should be fine with it.
should be fine. Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Thanks so much. It's been a wonderful time, and I'm sure various trainings like this will be coming up. So I'm just doing it that in case I see someone doing something better, I invite others. Let's see, just to share a very good common practice. Okay.
Right.
Fantastic. Well done, everyone. All right. Thanks. So do all have a very wonderful day. Okay. I'm going to share the YouTube link. I'm going to send it to you. So in case you want to go through again, Tony, I'll send it also to you, David. Then I'll actually share it on the